Guys, be quiet. It's a waiting period. The SEC is listening to us. What's up, dudes and dudettes? This is Diligence here, and today, due to popular request, we're going to talk about the so-called T plus 21 cycle, which doesn't really exist because T plus 21 literally is just a monthly cycle, and some brokerage firms actually require you to cover some of the positions, especially you are the smaller players. So the reasoning for that is to keep your margin safe or to keep our margin healthy. Right? Because brokerage firms sort of eat you on your margin. They make money off of that, right? And also, I'm going to talk about the quiet period. Well, to be honest, the quiet period is really a mess because we're dealing with a reverse merger and all of you are just planning for the worst and saying the 40-day quiet period is in session. But in reality, guys, the truth is the 40-day quiet period only applies to IPO companies. And here's why. So this is what really happens to an IPO, okay? So let's just say a company. Let's just say me and number two and and all of us decided to run our YouTube channel and go public. So DD on day one went IPO, right? So before we went IPO, we have to file this thing called S1. And in S1, there's some preliminary financial information and some information about regarding our partners, our business operations. And then when S1 goes to the SEC, there's a time lag. And then there's a time lag between when SEC decided to file their S1 online. So the quiet period accounted for this time, and it also accounted for when our IPO actually hit the market, and the first time we eventually have to disclose our, let's just say, the first required financial statement, like officially to file that to the SEC, and SEC also needs some time to process it because government workers doesn't. Let's just be honest, usually most of them just sit in office for one day and they sort of just want their pension plan to be fulfilled, or in a modern day era terminology, they just want, their vesting period time of their pension fund to be done. That's why the government agencies are the least efficient agency in the entire world. Dang it. And the irony is we still pay so much taxes. But anyway, that's what literally the quiet period is for. And quiet period also can be called the waiting period. The whole purpose of this is to make sure that the CEO of the company, or whoever's in charge of the company in this case, let's name it George. The SEC want to make sure that George doesn't give us, who are closer to this company, right, the investors, any more information than they've already given to the SEC in their filings. So, apparently someone on Reddit finally picked up this quiet and waiting period thing and just talked about like George cannot talk about it. In reality, what really bound him for not talking is probably a two-way NDA rather than an actual waiting period. But the waiting period actually exists, guys. Why? Because in order for them to transfer from the CSE, I think this is Canadian exchange, right, to the NASDAQ, there's a period of time where they have to consolidate their files, they have to do their filings, and then they send all their files to the SEC, right? And this is an entire time lag. So the SEC have to make sure that we who closely follow this company as investors do not get more information than any other investors on the market. Therefore, George does have a quiet period, or let's just say a waiting period. So let's just entertain that thought, even though in my personal opinion, he's not really bounded by that rule, because technically in your own company's compliance department, you can actually define your own quiet or waiting period sort of laws or self-governing document or sort of like a code of conduct. Because on the SEC website, you can actually broadcast your plans on when it's still in quiet period if it's actually super pertinent to your base operation of your company that you really want your investors to know. As long as everyone gets to know at the same time, it should be fine. You see, this is sort of like one of those anti-discrimination laws sort of thing, okay? And back to the thing, let's just talk about, if this waiting period or this, let's just say, quiet period actually applies to George. Then, basically, the quiet period would end when the first earning comes out. How do you spell earnings? There you go. When the earning comes out. And I think according to sources, the first filing, so basically how it works is not even just the earnings. It could just be some random interim financial statement coming out. Let's just say some random balance sheet or income statement that comes out that got published on the SEC, that first got published on the SEC right after the merger close, which is on the 28th, right? So as long as we see this, the quiet period ends. Okay, does that make sense? So if we do a conservative estimate, then that will probably end early August. Capiche? If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I think by making more YouTube videos, I'm becoming more and more patient, and you guys are helping me with that too. At the same time, since I'm making a video, let's just talk about the price chart a little bit. So today we can see it's a fairly uneventful day. I mean, it is George's 40th birthday. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen our hyped up multiverse video, go watch that because I spent a lot of time making that video. I spent like maybe 10 or 12 hours editing it. And if you guys don't watch it, it will make me super sad. Ooh. And for those of you who are just tuning in for this video, I mean, obviously, if you just tune in, that means you skipped ahead. But for those of you who are just tuning into the video, or those of you who haven't smashed a like button, please smash a like button and keep that like button blue. And for those of you who are just, new to this channel, please sub because we provide a lot of premium content and we sort of demystify a lot of misinformation online, on Reddit, and on YouTube. I mean, for the bottom line is, do not believe everything and every other post on Reddit or on the internet, because a lot of times a lot of people are just making speculations that don't really have a financial background. Therefore, they don't really provide the most accurate DD or the most accurate financial opinion. But at the same time, we are not financial advisors, therefore we do not give financial advice. And everything we say on this channel is for shits and giggles only. Alright, let's get into the price chart. So if you look at the price chart, today is an interesting day. Because the market basically in the morning, the Dow Jones, bang, just went down. And bang, the NASDAQ went down. And if you guys want to know the reason, and if you want to see if there's actually going to be a crash coming, go watch the video that I posted in the morning. I mean, if you really think there's a huge crash coming, just think twice. Because the market is not, in short, the market is not ready for a huge crash yet. Especially when the stimulus checks haven't been pulled. And when the stimulus checks are going to be pulled, it's going to be absolutely disastrous, especially when people are getting lazy over COVID and they don't really want to get a job anymore. But that will be for another video for another day. But if you just look at MMAT, it's trading pretty flat as far as this goes. Because as I talked about before, if we just go back to pre-split, this price point is literally, we are going back. We're just like we invented time machine. We put ourselves in it, put $2 into it, click that start button, and bang, we just went back pre-merger. We basically went back to around like $1.5 basis. Even though the lowest point is 3.3, but we are around $1.5 pre-split basically. And then for the torch directors, this is basically their cost of goods sold price already, and if it goes any lower, that means this merger literally doesn't make them any money. But for those of them who are literally holding it they have to hold, because a lot of director level people, they have to hold because of lockup period with reversed merger. What they can do is they can actually sell it to third parties, sort of using other option contracts, but I don't think any of them are doing any of those things. But anyways, so what that means is in the next near future, especially in the next 3 months, we will see a price action jump. At least it will be higher than $3.5, or in this case, it will be higher than $3. So usually, probably in around 3 months, when the economy, I can't really guarantee you that the economy is going to be stable, but for this stock, if everything goes as planned, it's probably going to go back to around $6 to $6.5. But for right now, for those of you who are, keeping tune or really want me to post that video about how we are gonna dig ourselves out of the glory hole we dig ourselves in for MMAT, you guys gotta smash the like button on the previous video, because I said if we don't get 500 likes on that previous video, I'm not gonna make that, because that video is gonna be pure math, and it's gonna all about how to sort of sell calls and sell puts in a manageable way, and using leap options and using other mathematical tools, just using this one stock to dig us out of the hole bit by bit, month by month. But keep in mind, for those of you who are just dabbling into the option market, when you're selling calls, you're literally triggering the market. Well, I mean, if you just sell 1 or 2 calls, it's no big deal. But because there are over 1,000 of you listening to me, so if all of you decided to sell call on one morning, that means there's gonna be what? 1,000 of you, and it's gonna be basically 1,000 times 100 will be 100,000 shares that are just making a cap. What did that mean by that? When you're selling a call like within an expiration day, you're literally betting the stock to be within the range of your strike price. So let's just say right now I sell a call for $6, and then expiration day is August 20th. I think the next one is August 20th. So if the next strike, the expiration day is on August 20th, and the strike point for this call option that we saw is $6. That means we are betting that the stocks is not going to go more than $6 within hypothetically or ideally won't go over $6. But that would be contradictory towards our main position, right? So because our main position is we want the stock to be going up to about $12 and maybe around the $14 and $18 line. George, as he is probably just gonna do a issuing more stock, or probably gonna do a split. But that's, another story for another day, because essentially George's company is full of PhDs, and I got rejected by Stanford. Therefore, I might not be as qualified as them as you know. But anyways, you guys know that I'm joking. And in the next video, I think this is it for this video. I don't want to drag any video longer than 10 minutes. I don't know how long I have been talking about this, but I've been practicing to trying to shorten myself, trying to restrain myself. And I've been running courses with number 2 to try and not to let me just put way too much information and pack in one video. But anyways, in the next video, I'm gonna talk about the Stanford affiliation, the AKA rumor SpaceX program, but not really. It's basically a program Stanford that lure in a lot of high-tech companies, sort of being in hub and everything. But I just call it high skilled worker slavery program. But anyways, I can explain that in my next video. And keep tuned for this weekend's contents, because we're gonna push out some of the 5G MMAT due diligence and 5G rollout video on the weekend. That's gonna be huge for those of you who are only here for solid, magnificent data you won't get from anywhere. That's gonna be the video that you're looking for. And I think that video is probably gonna run either 20 minutes for 2 videos, so it's gonna be part 1 and part 2, or it's gonna be a 40-minute one video. So let me know which one you guys prefer. And also next weekend we're gonna sort of dab into their laser glasses and AR glasses implication and analyzing that market. Leave a comment below if you want want us to talk about any other topics that you're interested in, or you just want us to cover like basic information about the 10-year lease. And as I said before, I think like a month ago, I've already hinted that the 10-year lease that is already on their website way before they emerge is going to be huge. I hinted that they might be pushing production from my previous videos. And for those of you who are my, dearest fans, you might guys just, want to go back and watch those videos and clip those moments. And maybe later on when we all are rich and I made most of you I sort of make you guys millionaires because I only invested that much money in here. You can go back and be like, oh my god, we're following DD from the beginning and he was right from the beginning. Alright, anyways guys, I think this is it for today's video. Smash the like button, subscribe, see you on the upside.